Welcome friends to another edition of Cooking with LK. We're back in action today to share with you yet another special recipe. Today we're going to make some sausage rotini. Let's get busy. And the very first thing that you want to do is start out with an olive oil base here. We're actually going to be sauteing some onions, mushrooms, and a little bit of minced garlic mixed in with all this. So just give yourself a little bit of oil to work with. And it really helps if you have one of these electric choppers. You can pick these up cheap at Walmart. I'm not even sure what brand this is. Maybe Sunbeam or some crap like that. But throw a little bit in. Looks like this is an Oster. Yeah. Puree the salmon. I really wonder if any of you guys catch my frequent Mrs. Doubtfire quotes that I always throw into these. Not something I'm trying to do, but notice we've got a few videos now with some of those lines in there. Actually, I think all of them have a line, at least one. Matter of fact, that's where the dinner is served. Madam comes. And you can set your burner right around medium-high until you hear the stuff start cooking. And as soon as that happens, we'll turn it down to a low-medium setting and then saute this stuff. And we're rocking and rolling over here now. And you want to stir this up occasionally, flip the mushrooms a little bit. Basically want to cook these until the mushrooms start to get tender. And got a ways to go here. We'll give them a few minutes. And while they're cooking, we'll turn our attention to this sausage over here. And normally we use smoked sausage for this recipe. Actually trying the turkey smoked sausage for the first time for this one just to save some of the fat content. Not sure if you can get a shot of that there, but typical fat on a serving size on a regular smoked sausage link is about 15 grams per serving. Here we're looking at about 5, so it's going to be interesting to see how much, if any, taste we're going to be giving up. And we'll go ahead and cut these up into nice chunks. The great thing about the Hillshire Farm, most of the times you'll find that this smoked sausage is already cooked, just needs to be warmed up. You guys that are familiar with my show, you know we usually tend to do things very time consistently. We don't like to take a lot of time in cooking because we're hungry, we all want to eat, and the less amount of prep time we have, the better.
This is beat total sausage party. I think.
And honestly, if you guys ever come across the jalapeno Hillshire smoked sausage, I highly recommend it. Sometimes it's hard to find, but if you like spicy and you like good taste, that stuff is on the money. And after you got your sausage cut up and while you're waiting for the mushrooms and onions to saute, go ahead and put your water on, kick your burner up to high, and you might want to also go ahead and preheat your oven to about 425. We got some garlic cheese bread we're going to be throwing in here in just a bit. Goes real good with this stuff. And our mushrooms are just about ready. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and dump in our rotini. Water's hot. And you want to start stirring this stuff right away. If you leave it in there, it will kind of lock up into a big ramen noodle type case. So stir it up, let the boil return, and it will be off and running. And rotini takes a little bit longer to cook up than the angel hair pasta that we used for the meatball video. So that's fine. That can boil while we're turning our attention back to the shrooms here. And our mushrooms and onions are good to go. Now we can go ahead and dump in all our sausage. Incoming. Nice. And we'll go ahead and mix our sausage up with this delicious base we've got sauteed up. And again, this sausage is already cooked. We're basically just kind of getting a jump start on the heating up process that it goes through here during the making of this dish. And once you've got it integrated in, again, this is all preference. At this point, I like to go ahead and put in some spice, a little cayenne pepper on the sausage, and just a little sprinkling. Person behind the camera is not a big fan of super spice, so we use the cayenne pepper in light moderation. And occasionally stir in our rotini. If you don't like to multitask, if you are kind of more of an upstart cook, or you don't cook all that often, if you're not comfortable multitasking, if you just like to focus on one thing at a time, you can totally save the cooking of the rotini here until we get our diced tomatoes and everything put in the main dish. As it's simmering, you can turn your attention to the rotini however you see fit. Me, once again, I like to cut prep time, cooking time as much as possible. I like to get everything done as soon as we possibly can. And we're ready to put in our diced tomatoes. These are the Hunt's diced with the basil, garlic, and oregano already seasoned in. It's a perfect blend of seasoning. Highly recommend you pick these up. We love them to death. Two of these bigger cans. These are the 28-ounce versions. And then there's going to be one of the 14.5 ounce, which is your typical regular can of soup, if you will. And we'll go ahead and add those in. And that's about perfect. And let's go ahead and mix it all up. And when your diced tomatoes go in, go ahead and crank the heat up to high here. You actually want to bring this to a boil. And this is just typically by preference. I highly recommend throwing some olives in. Some people like black, some people like green. I like both. So we're going to go ahead and add them both in here. And it's strictly a preference thing. If you don't really care for olives, you can totally leave those out. Personally, I think it adds great extra flavor boost to this concoction here. And you want to be careful when you're stirring this stuff up and working these in. And once you got them worked in, go ahead and put in a little black pepper. Just a light dusting across the whole thing. If you want to go for a little more spice, tad bit more cayenne pepper now that the diced tomatoes are in. And once you got a decent boil going on here, you can go ahead and stir it up again. Everything in here is nice and hot now. And you can turn the heat down to about medium. And we'll go ahead and cover it. And once we're covered, we'll let it simmer maybe about 10-12 minutes, just enough to get some of that moisture burn off there. You don't want it too juicy or too soupy. And it looks like the rotini's done. When you notice that it's expanded and it's moving around a lot slower than it was before, typically after it's been boiling maybe about 10-12 minutes, you're good to go. So we will remove it from the heat, get the water drained off, and we'll set it aside. And we've been simmering about 7 or 8 minutes now. Just bust in here and stir it up some. Boy, it's smelling real good. Well, let's have a look here. We've actually been letting this simmer for about 15 minutes or so. Looks like we've got enough of the soupiness evaporated. And that should just about do it. Actually go ahead and turn the heat off on this. And we can go ahead and add our rotini in. If you ran some cold water over the pasta earlier, you will have drained it off by this point. And we're basically going to put a little blanket covering over the top here. Don't want to use all of it. In, you're pretty much done. If you like a little bit more pasta, you can always work a few more in. If you like a little bit less, reverse psychology. And you can't have some sausage rotini without some of this Texas toast. Pepper Ridge Farm 5 cheese. It's good stuff. Only takes 5 minutes to bake. And if you're like me and you like a little bit of extra cheese with your bread, not going to hurt things one bit by taking some shredded mozzarella and sprinkle it on top. Oven set at about 425. We'll go ahead and slide these in for about 5 minutes, and I'm actually even going to go ahead and set the timer here so I don't get too distracted. Oh yeah. Here. Oh yeah. Look at that. Yummy. Dinner is served, yo. Wow. This looks appetizing. Wrong with a little Parmesan, or a lot. Yeah, screw it. I'm running every day. Ain't no big deal. Oh yeah. Rocking the Doritos Mexican Cola. Also highly recommend. Well, let's try the turkey sausage. Not bad. Not bad. It has a few subtle differences between the typical regular smoked sausage, but taste-wise, you're really not giving up a whole lot. And we'll give our cheese bread a shot here. Oh yeah. All in all, good tasty meal. Doesn't take a whole lot of time to make. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. As always, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.